It's 11 o'clock Eastern time. It's time to get rolling. So, our agenda today, first of all, I'm going to introduce your host, Fran Reed, who is, well, I'll tell you about her in a moment. And then Fran and I are going to cover off all of the details of what you need to know to be ready for this trip so that you will have a wonderful experience. I will touch on the arrival process, what you should know about getting over to Madeira. Madeira is how they say it locally. So I sometimes pronounce it the way they do there. I will touch on a few of the notes. Maybe Fran may have some anecdotes from her hosting the trip last year, and then we'll answer any questions that you might have about this experience on this, as I say, this amazing island. First of all, Fran, good morning.
Good morning,
Fran
everyone, and
loves
good morning.
Madeira. Yeah, I was going to say Fran loves Madeira so much that she had to come back for more this year. So tell us about that.
So I thoroughly enjoyed. I ended up filling in for a host that wasn't able to make it at the last minute, and I absolutely fell in love with the island. And so I just said, "Can I go back next year and do the same trip again?" It's just lovely, and met a lot of people that have been on the Wheel and Anchor Liveaway who continue to go back on their own to spend time there. So there'll be a couple that was on my trip last year that will be there this year, staying at the same hotel.
Yeah, well, we are opening up your eyes to a totally new part of the world that, we've all heard something about, but, you know, I mean, prior to coming to Madeira with us, Fran, I mean, what did you know about Madeira? Probably next to nothing. I mean, it's,
Not really, because I mean, I had been to the Azores and Porto, previously, like years before, and it's just so unique. It's really different from the mainland, and it's different from the Azores as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I saw an article just in not that long ago that it's like, Europe's newest emerging destination. And I'm like, okay, keep it quiet. I don't want to become overrun. It's perfect the way it is. Anyway, without further ado, Fran is the perfect person to show you around. But that being said, if you have not been on one of it, this is your first wheel and anchor endeavor. Just to make sure you understand what Fran's role is as the host of your trip, because she's not the local guide, right? We have local guide. Her name is Rubina. She's amazing. We've been working with Rubina since we first started offering the live away in Madeira a few years back. And she's the one that is a encyclopedia of knowledge about Madeira and all things. And she's a such a patriot and such a she's you'll love her. She's one of our most beloved
You
guides,
will
not
love,
just in Madeira.
you will love Madeira because of Rubina.
Yeah, it's true because she just makes it just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got
That,
anecdotes and everything. But my
yeah.
job as a host is to take care of the logistics and to keep everyone connected and to make sure that all the little details run smoothly so you can focus on enjoying the trip. Rabina will be our guide during the excursions, and she'll share all the stories and history and culture of Madeira and Porto Santo if you're going to that. I will be handling all the coordination, the questions, and making sure you're comfortable along the way. Um, yeah, and if there's anything that you need to know, Rabina or the front desk are the ones to ask if I'm not aware of some of the, other things that you're doing.
Yeah.
I will be posting on the channel before you head out some of the things that I found the last time. Like there's a huge music scene, live music scene, where the laundromat is, that's like across the street from the hotel, and some local restaurants just around if you're there a day before the whole tour starts, just to give you an idea. And anywhere you go is good with regard to the restaurants.
Yeah, really, they are. It's remarkable. And there's more restaurants within walking distance than you'd have to go back a second time or a third time in order to try all the restaurants. So perfect. Well, thanks for setting that context, Fran. So let's start with just a few of the logistics, talking about logistics for this trip. Starting off with your passport and your documents. We all, the old adage, money, tickets, passport. Well, the money is basically in your credit card these days, and the tickets are on your phone or, it's stored electronically. But the passport is the one thing you cannot do without. So make sure you know where it is. It as a rule of thumb for anywhere, we say this about all destinations, but it should be good for at least 6 months after your entry date into Europe, which obviously Madeira is part of, and ideally should have two blank pages. So when the passport starts to get full is when you might want to, even though like me, I don't get my 5 years out of the passport. Mine fills up before then, but um, do make a copy of your passport, either a photocopy and stick it somewhere other than your passport. I just frankly just make a picture with my phone, which then means that the moment you arrive, you can put it in the safe in your hotel room, and then you don't have to bother with it. There's no need for your passport at any point during the trip, or is there, Fran?
No, I always tag my photo with passport and the year that it expires,
Yeah.
just so that I can easily find it through all my photos, that it's available quick.
Exactly. Yeah, because you might have a million photos in there or yeah. So yeah, that's a great little tip on, how to keep it handy. And so yeah, that's just it. And if you have any other important documents, and when I talk about important documents, prescriptions is something, it's never a bad thing in case something should happen to your prescription medication if you take any, is a good thing to have with you. And the only other thing that can be handy is, take your most important email password. If you use Gmail, we use we have a shared photo album that we use in Google because it's so versatile. Um, but then folks will be like, "Oh yeah, I want to put some photos on the shared album," but you do need a Google account with the password. And then it's like, "Oh, don't have my password at home." So you might want to write that down on a piece of paper. But other than that, there really aren't any other documents you have to worry about because, of course, there's no visas for Europe, which obviously Madeira is part of. We've been asked before about this ETIAS system. This is an electronic travel system that they're planning to implement in Europe. It is not a thing as yet. It's been deferred year after year after year. It was supposed to come out after COVID, but it's way behind. But just to be aware, and there is nothing you need to do beforehand, there is a new biometric. Um, it's the it's some other electronic authorization thing. When you arrive and you go through immigration, they will probably collect your fingerprints. That's the new thing. And the point of it is, well, partly they won't be stamping your passport anymore because between the machine, the chip that's in your passport and your fingerprints, they'll be able to identify you so they won't have to stamp you in and out. They'll know exactly when you came and when you left. So that's a new protocol. But again, there's nothing to do about that. So let's move right on and talk about packing. And I think, Fran, obviously, you've been there now a couple times. So you pretty much know what the weather's like and what kind of attire.
Yes, well, I was caught unawares last year for the first time ever in all my travels. It was much cooler than I expected, so I had to buy a little puffer jacket and a long-sleeved sweater. That was a little bit warmer. So, because it's in the Atlantic, an island in the Atlantic, the breezes can be cool, it could be a little bit damp, and just have different layers of clothing and different thicknesses of clothing. So, it might be warm one day, and then in the evening it might be cool. So the temperature does drop quite a bit at night. So last year we went to the low teens, and sometimes during the day we got to the low 20s. But you need to be comfortable, you need to be prepared and also bring an umbrella. We had drizzle, we had rain one day. There's so many microclimates. It could be dry and sunny at one end of the island, and if you were up on the volcano, it was windy and cold. So just to be prepared.
Yeah, yeah, that's wise. Um, yeah, the rain is, as Fran said, it can come. They say in Madeira, like they do in the Azores, if you're unhappy with the weather, wait 20 minutes because it tends to change fairly rapidly. So don't fret, but it can be cool and it can be windy. Um, you talked about walking shoes. This is a walking destination. I mean, all of our destinations are walking destinations, let's face it. But Madeira is known for its levadas, and I'll talk about those in a little. And so, um, if you like to hike, And when I say hike, I'm not talking about like, up mountain trails and all the rest of it, but lovely walks through the forest, through the mountains, through nature. This is the place to do it. So having comfortable shoes is critical. It's more important than having fancy shoes. You don't need fancy shoes, but you also don't really need hiking boots. So people often ask me that. Now, if you are a serious hiker and you want to hike up Pico Arero, the highest mountain in Madeira, which there is a path that I've always wanted to do myself, but never have had the time, then, having something more like hiking boots would be necessary. But for anything we're going to do on the trip, absolutely not. And quite honestly, for most of the other walks through, they are on very, not
Level.
steep trails, level, thank you, trails. And they don't necessitate anything crazy like that. Somebody on the last webinar asked me about hiking poles. I'm a big believer in hiking poles. I take mine everywhere. I have two. They're collapsible. I think they're great. Not so much for walking around in the city, but again, to walk on the levadas, these trails that I'll tell you a little bit about. They're handy. So if you have collapsible ones, I would do I would recommend that. And other than that, obviously, you'll need an electrical adapter that's good for Europe, which is the two prongs and it's 220 volts. And this way you can pretty much most of your electronic devices will have dual voltage. So your phone charger, most importantly, and camera charger and stuff, they all take both voltages. So if you have something particular like a hearing aid charger, some of them will not only take 110 volts, and heating devices like a hair straightener or a hair dryer, those ones are also often only single voltage, and you need to be mindful if you are going to take something like that. So if you aren't sure, check the label uh, and double check as to whether or not it will work on the voltage in Europe. Um, yeah, I think we've covered most everything. A sun hat and sunglasses. So, we talk about rain and Atlantic and wind. It can also be very sunny and you can get fried. So think about that as well. I think that's pretty important. The beauty of Madeira is that you can also buy everything everywhere. I mean, there are great shops. There's lots of shops. So pack light, but also leave room in your luggage, because odds are you'll pick up a trinket or two, right? You didn't buy anything in Madeira, did you, Fran?
Oh, just the chocolate
And the wine. You told
and
me
the
you bought the
wine.
wine.
Yes, yes, I did open the bottle yesterday from the Barbasano
There,
wine.
there you go. Perfect. There you go. It's like a little pre-Madeira little drink. Um, why don't you carry on and talk a little bit about money and how it all works there?
So the currency in Portugal is the euro, and credit cards are used everywhere. And as per Wheel and Anchor, I got my Wise card many years ago, and I don't even get any money before I go. And because I've been traveling, quite a bit, I keep my change, so I always have euros on me when I go. But I use the Wise card. The rate of exchange is a lot less than what you would get at the bank, and it's so easy. You can transfer from your Wise card and your Canadian funds into euros in less than a second. Like it's so, so quick. By the time it takes you to enter the amount that you want and you hit send, you've got the money in your euro account. So in the funds, in the currency. So I found that really, really helpful. And because with using the Wise card, when you do withdraw money from a bank machine, it doesn't charge you up to a certain amount of money, so you're not paying any bank fees either.
Exactly. And the exchange rates are unbeatable. We use Wise for all of our commercial transactions because honestly, I haven't found a more competitive option. And so, if you'll see other members, if they're pulling out their Wise cards, and at first, there's a bit of skepticism. Do I need another credit card? This is the traveler's dream, I'm telling you. So, um,
It, it's my
strongly
travel
consider
card.
getting one if you don't have.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
travel
me too.
card.
I don't. Yeah,
I just,
I don't. My Canadian cards, I leave them in a suitcase. I don't even bother using them outside Canada. I only use the Wise card.
well, throughout the year, every so often, I'll throw a couple $100 into my Canadian account. And then when it's time to do my travel, I've got money in there and I just have to start transferring or converting into the currency of the country that I'm going to.
Right. And you don't even have to convert. You can leave it in Canadian dollars,
Yeah,
and it'll
yeah.
just automatically. But if you're, if you're somebody like me, I'm like, oh, the euro went down today. It's all go and transfer some money into euros or into whatever currency that might be handy. You won't need a lot of cash, that being said, because as Fran said, credit cards are ubiquitous. They're taken, you can use them just about everywhere. The only places are, of course, small little shops, or if you want to grab a coffee or something like that. Even those places take credit cards, of course, just like at home. But having a bit of cash, let's face it, we are all of the generation that likes their cash. So, um, where you would need cash as well, or where it's ideal, is for tips. Now, you have prepaid tips for all the services that we provide. So your guide, your drivers, your waiters, where it's applicable in various restaurants, that's all taken care of. So the only place that you need to worry about a gratuity is for services that are provided directly to you and we have no involvement in. And that, for example, is the airport transfer driver when you get brought in from the airport in Funchal to the hotel. And for those that like to tip their housekeeper for great service, those kinds of things you would need a bit of cash for, and those are the only gratuities that you would need to pay. And of course, dining out. And the rule of thumb in Madeira, just like in other parts of Europe, is to round up to around 10% of the bill. So there's none of this 15, 18, 20% like we have at home. 10% is considered generous, and that's all that you really need. But just to remember on that is that it doesn't work like at home where you charge the amount on your credit card and they bring you back the slip and then you fill in the tip and then it gets processed from there. It doesn't work like that. Once the card is charged, that's it. So you preferably you want to leave your server a tip in cash, which is the most preferred option, or you have to tell them when you give them your card to say, oh, if the bill's 36, make it 40 or whatever it happens to be. So that's just an important rule of thumb. And Fran will remind you on some of those things when you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
only other
yeah.
place, the only other place you might need some
Mhm.
cash is some of the washrooms may need a euro. And
Mm,
if it's a smaller town, if there's a market, they may not have capability of
right.
using card. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Um, yeah. We'll carry on. Fran will explain Telegram and how that works. Please bring your phone. We pretty much have it be mandatory now that oh, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, please, please, every one of you have a phone, please. I've had some couples where, oh, the woman is taking care of everything, and oh, we're always together. And then on my one trip, she decided to go for a tea, and he went for a walk and got lost. And he had no phone, so I couldn't reach him. He didn't have access to a map, doesn't speak the
Thanks.
language. And thankfully, somebody picked him up and brought him back to the area that we were in. So it was about a half hour that we were trying to find out. Everybody kind of chimed in and, went in different directions, but that's not always the case where we have the time to do that. So be prepared. Make sure you have some money in case you get left behind.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You won't get left behind, but if you have your phone with you, and listen, we are of a generation that well, um, I'll leave that one. But where we're not always having our phones with us. But when you travel, it's really such an important tool for Google Maps, for Telegram that Fran will tell you about, for Google Translate. There's so many ways just to get yourself out of an awkward situation by
Yeah,
having the phone.
yeah.
How do you use your phone? So the best way is we are giving you a SIM card, being a live away, that will be valid for the duration of the trip. So that's the little plastic thing that you see here. Now we give you this SIM card, which means we take your other SIM card out and you put it back into the little package. You save it because that's basically your phone number from home, and then you'll have sufficient data to be able to use all of the functions of your phone, with the exception of phoning with your phone number, because the SIM card is basically your phone number. So when you take your phone number from home out, it means you can't be phoned with that phone number, right? People will just get a busy signal or something. And so I did the only small drawback to putting in the SIM card that we're going to give you from Madeira or from Portugal, because it's part of Portugal, is that texting is not no longer possible, or not possible with your number from home. So if you're somebody that texts with friends or relatives on a regular basis, you might want to say, "Hey, I'm going to Madeira and I'm going to put in a local SIM card, so you can't text me. Send me an email, send me a WhatsApp, send me a Facebook Messenger, send me one of the million other apps that you can use to send a message with, but your texting will not work." If you are somebody that has a new smartphone and you prefer to get an eSIM, unfortunately, we can't help you with that. So you're welcome to get an eSIM on your own account. But because we don't have a dedicated eSIM provider, and honestly, I don't even have one, excuse me, that I would universally recommend, um, you have to go and search through the different options and choose your own. But either way works. It's the same thing. One's digital and one is a little plastic piece like that. So once again, bring your phone, and Fran, explain about Telegram and how
Yeah.
that
So
works, or if you have anything else to add about the phone.
Yeah, so please install your Telegram if you don't have it already before you leave Canada. When you sign up for it, it sends you a code to confirm that you've signed up for it. And if you have your SIM card in, you will never get the code. So please have it before you go. And then when you do sign up and have it, please send me a quick hello. I'm on the Madeira 2 trip. And just my username is at Francine underscore WA, and that is in all the documents that you've received. So it's how we're going to be sharing the group updates, the reminders, and any last minute adjustments. And it also helps you members to connect before the trip begins. And so there's a few people that have signed up already. And I'll be going through once I get all my final documentation from Wheel and Anchor.
Exactly, and double checking. And so set it up now. That way it's taken care of and have to worry about it closer to the time when you're going to be busy packing and getting excited about your trip. Just going to mention a couple of things in regards to health protocols, just a few pointers. Number one is, if you should injure yourself at any point of the trip, it's easy to twist a foot or get a scrape or a bruise or something like that. Please report it to Fran, even if it's minor, because we just want to make sure that what we think is minor actually is minor and isn't something that shouldn't be looked at by a clinic. There's lots of clinics available. It's not a big deal, but we want to deliver you back home in the same condition that you arrived in. Secondly, if you develop a symptom of any kind, a sneeze or a cough, it's common. It's flu season. It's everything season. There's all kinds of bugs floating around at home, and not to mention on the plane when you fly over. And I certainly hope you don't get sick, but please wear a mask is the bottom line. You're going to be in the company of your fellow members, who will love you if you wear a mask, and because you're going to be on the sprinter, like on the mini coach, and on the and in close quarters for on a number of occasions throughout this trip. So it's just the appropriate thing to do. Last but not least, we are non-smoking. I think that goes without saying in this day and age, but I say it anyway, in case you are a smoker. If you could just refrain from smoking around the group during any activities and excursions sanctioned by Wheel and Anchor. So that's it for the preparation part. We'll talk a little bit about arriving in Madeira, and then maybe Fran will share a few thoughts and pointers for her experience. The scenery looks like this everywhere. It's just these dramatic green mountains rising up from the sea. It's so beautiful. You are going to fly into the airport, which is just to the east of Funchal. Um, and you're going to be staying just to the west of Funchal in an area of town called Lido, which is where most of the hotels are, and condos, and restaurants and shops. And there's a lovely boulevard, like a promenade, that goes all the way along. It goes, in fact, all the way to the next town. And you can walk. It's a decent walk into the old town center of Funchal. It's about a half an hour walk or so downhill, and you can always take the bus back. And Fran will explain how all that works. Everything in Madeira is reachable in, I think the longest drive from Funchal to any point on the island is not even 90 minutes. So it's a pretty compact island, which means we're going to see a lot of it on this liveaway. We're going to see a lot of the key sort of highlights of the island. But it also means that, there is the opportunity. We've had members rent a car. I don't necessarily recommend it. The roads are pretty narrow in some places and very windy. But the possibility exists on your free days of finding various ways to explore the island. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then there's Porto Santo, which is up here on the top right of the map. An island that you will, if you barely know anything about Madeira, you've never heard of Porto Santo, and yet it's a charming island with a huge, I think it's a 7 kilometer long golden sand beach. Um, it's wild. So for those that are joining that program, it's great. This picture is what a levada looks like. So the levadas, and if you've probably read the documentation, maybe you've Googled it already, that's the irrigation channels that were built 100 years ago to channel the water from the center and the north side of the island where it rains more down to the agricultural areas on the south side of the island. And so, being irrigation channels, they were designed to be, not so steep. So the water is flowing down without gushing over the sides. And the paths that run beside them then obviously have the same angle, which is pretty flat. And it makes for some incredible walking trails. And there are hundreds of kilometers of levadas all throughout Madeira. It's one of what I think they're in fact UNESCO designated the levadas of Madeira, if I'm not mistaken. And it's something that the island really is known for. So for those going early on the pre-trip, heading over to Porto Santo, you're going to be treated to an island that is super beautiful, beautiful coastline, this wonderful beach. And so this is a very laid back spot. This is where the Madeirenses go for their, weekend getaway if they're not going to fly back to the mainland, because you can get there on a ferry ride quite easily. And it's an even smaller island, which is laid back and chill, but I love Porto Santo. I mean, honestly, I think I could live there. So you'll spend a couple of days there, and then you'll come back and then meet the rest of the group, and your trip will start in Funchal. In fact, this is kind of, as you're driving from the airport, you'll get a scene much like this overlooking the city of Funchal. And this is obviously the harbor area, and where you're staying is in the Lido, which is, this sort of peninsula that sticks out over here. That's the area of town that you're going to be staying in. We have various tours that we have included into this program, as well as some optional tours that are for those that are wine lovers or food lovers or what have you. But the East Tour, for example, takes in the most recent, like the newest part of the island, the part that was obviously all formed by volcanoes long ago. So it's known for its dramatic cliffs and coastline. There's a rum distillery that you visit, I think, on this tour. It's all of the tours have amazing vistas and amazing experiences that give you an insight into life on the island. We have Levada walks in the program as well. There's the ones that we've chosen I think the ones we've chosen are fairly moderate. Are they not, Fran, in terms of challenge?
Yeah, I went on a few last year. I'm not a hiker, so I didn't do the top level, like the
Right.
Black
Yeah.
Diamond. So yeah, but I was able to handle, as you say, it's a gradual
Incline
rise up.
or
Yeah,
decline.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the views are stunning.
Yeah. They're really, it's really, really worth doing. And it just, yeah, it's my favorite thing to do in Madeira. You will visit the west side of the island, and here you'll get a chance to go on this very steep cable car. And you also visit Cabo Girao, the highest sea cliffs in Europe, where you get a view much like this from a glass platform. If you have a fear of heights, you probably won't want to go on the glass platform because you look straight down 600 meters to the coast below. It looks, I think this is taken from there, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like the
Looks like
view from the this yeah, from the sea cliffs. It's super cool. And once again, you'll also visit the plateau, and you'll get a sense of this the forest, which I just forgot the name of the trees, but you'll the laurel forest, the laurel silva forest, and anyway, I have so many stories to tell, but I'm going to save that, let you enjoy that on the trip, and Rubina will have all the info. There's also a great array of wine, and now Madeira is known for the Madeira wine, which is a fortified wine. And I encourage you, if you're not doing a trip, go in to Blandy's, which is the oldest, I think, one of the oldest Madeira wine producers, and try it. And it's something that was in vogue in the 19th century, and then kind of went. You don't hear much about Madeira wine other than maybe in a sauce somewhere or something. But I quite like Madeira wine. It's like a light port wine. It's quite tasty. But they also have great table wines there. And here's the Barbuzano ones for those that are on the Wine on the Mountain tour. You get to try some great table wines, rosé, whites, reds, great wines. As I say, if you were at Fran's house today, you would have got a chance to sample some before going to Madeira.
I'm,
And then the North Tour. Sorry?
I'm getting ready.
You're getting ready. Exactly. Get into the Madeira spirit. So, as I say, the tour is taking the main parts of the island, but there is so much more to see. I think I've been there 5 times, and there's still little nooks and crannies that I've yet to visit. And for a small island, it offers an awful lot. Dolphin watching as well. There's always sea marine life in the waters around Madeira because it's on the migratory path of whales and dolphins that go up and down the Atlantic Ocean from north to south. So you're if you go on a dolphin watching trip, you'll be likely to see some of those. So lots of things that are in store for you, but we'll save the rest for your experience there. It's time to address any questions that have come in. Um, Laureen asked about get a SIM card there or increase service with Canadian server. We are giving you a SIM card, Laureen. So you don't need to do anything. We will give you a SIM card. So you don't need to use your Canadian server at all. That's part of the program because on a liveaway, it's just extra handy to have one. So nothing for you to do. We'll
Yeah.
take care of it.
And just a comment, when you arrive at the airport, get yourself on their Wi-Fi in case you need to reach me. So you don't
Yeah.
need a SIM card until you see me. So, but you can use the Wi-Fi in the airport in the meantime.
Absolutely. So if you have any problem on arrival, when you come in, after you collect your bags, if you don't find the transfer driver, it's not a super big airport, so it's not crazy busy. But sometimes you don't find them right away. But if you have any issues, drop Fran a note. She will make sure to get in touch with Coralina, who are our transfer providers, and to hook you up. Rona asked about, can I buy hiking poles there? If you need to find them, you certainly can buy hiking poles there. Um, so there's outdoor shops because, this is also an outdoorsy kind of a destination. So if you want to buy them there, if you are going to buy them there, I just recommend you buy the collapsible ones for obvious reasons because, they're tough things to bring on an airplane because of the tips. But if they're packed up in your suitcase, no issue. Um, Tina asked, I have a newer phone and passed over something about a Telegram account, and I'm not familiar with the Wise card. Okay, well, we're not going to repeat what we talked about. The Telegram account, all of the information about Telegram is in the documentation we sent. So there's a whole separate piece of paper that explains how to set up Telegram, and it's just an app for your phone. So it's in there. Download it from the Apple Store or from the Android store or whatever it's called, and then set it up and drop Fran a note. And if you have trouble setting things like that up, then you can always go to YouTube and put in Telegram setup, and you'll find, 20 different videos on how to set up Telegram. The Wise card, similarly, it's all explained in the documentation. If you go to wise.com, wise.com, you'll find out about it. And again, the explanation of what it is and how it works is in our reference guide that we would have sent you. Mary asked, do Apple phones take SIM card? All mobile phones take SIM cards. So yeah, any cell phone that was built in the last more than 10 years takes SIM cards. So not to worry. That's the only way it works is with the SIM card. So yeah, Tina, yes, already sent. So we sent an email to everybody on the group. If you didn't get the email, then obviously you should contact us. But everyone, to my knowledge, everybody in the group was sent our information kit. Oh, hang on, Fran. What is we are? Fran, did everybody get the information kit? Because I just know this webinar is a little bit earlier than normal things.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
so I'm just yeah.
I'm not
You
sure.
know what? I have to retract my statement. We typically send all of the documentation 4 weeks in advance of the trip. And this webinar is obviously a little bit more than that because it starts on March the 3rd. And the only reason is because I'm hosting a trip next week. So I couldn't do it exactly 1 month before. So please, please excuse me if you did not get the email yet with the trip specific reference guide. Although we also would have sent that out with when you booked the trip, but we typically update it and send you your transfer vouchers about 4 weeks in advance. So please don't fret if you don't get it. I promise you will get it. As I say, I just skipped my mind that we are about a week, about 10 days earlier than we normally would be for doing this pre-trip webinar. So my apologies. It will come and all the info will be there. And if it's not, by all means, drop us a note. Melody is our after sales support person. She has answers to all the questions. So please do wait for the info if you didn't get it already. And if you don't get it by, let's say, February 2nd or February 3rd, a month in advance, or January 28th if you're going to Porto Santo, if you don't get it by then, uh, then um, then drop Melody a note and say, hey, I didn't get my information, and she'll chase it up for you. But we've never not sent the info, so I'm sure it will come. And thank you for your patience on that. Roan asked a question about I'm arriving 1 day early. So yeah, we can't provide the transfer because Fran isn't there. So or it's just we can't. Fran actually will be there, but we can't provide transfers outside of the regular schedule of the trip. And yes, there is Uber, and I use Uber in Madeira all the time. So you can use Uber, you can use a taxi, and it's not all that expensive. I think the transfer to the Uber to the airport is like maybe 20 euros, um, maybe not even
Something.
20 euros. Yeah, something like that. It's not expensive. So by all means, use that, and it works great. So you won't have any issues. This is a Madeira is so civilized. I want to move there. I really love this island. Everything works the way it's supposed to. It's my experience. So,
I'll be next door to you,
um,
Gordon.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Fran's moving in next door. You will love it. I promise you, you will love it. Everybody comes back and goes, "How come I never knew about Madeira before?" Well, you're about to find out. Um, I have nothing else to say, and I don't think there's any more. Did I miss any other questions? Oh, hold on. I just want to make sure I get all the questions here.
I just
And
want to
then
say,
I found out. Yeah,
Tina was asking about Telegram and Wise, so that it will be in the information that you
yeah,
have. With a Wise
yeah,
card, if you don't have one and want to get one, I would apply for it now. Because
yeah.
it takes. I think you now have an option where for a fee, they will send it to you by courier, but you can also download an electronic card so that you can put it in your wallet, so you can use it that way until you get
I
your.
mostly use the one that's right on the phone. Like you can see
Yeah.
it here. Like you put just like your other credit cards, you can put in your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but you need
But
the
you
physical
can't
card to be able to, yeah,
to
to
withdraw.
withdraw money. Yeah, that's the challenge with that.
So now would be the time
Uh,
to apply for that. And then Telegram is an app you download from your app, um, from the app. And
yeah,
and uh,
exactly.
yeah.
Judy asked how many in the group. We have 18 people on our main Madeira LiveAway trip. So the optimal size, and we have 6 who are joining to Porto Santo. So perfect size group. Then Judy also asks, is the hotel tap water potable? Yes, it is.
Yes.
The water so everywhere in Europe, EU, tap water has to meet their very stringent drinking standards. So it's absolutely potable. Um, some people still choose to drink bottled water just because, it might taste a bit different than at home. But personally, in Madeira, I certainly drink the tap water because it comes right out of the mountains. Great stuff. Marion asked about my question about if I have to use your SIM card, if I prefer to use my own data from my Canadian plan has not been answered. Okay, I'm sorry, Marion, I missed the question. So if you would like to use your own data from your Canadian plan, you are absolutely welcome to do that. We know we are definitely not forcing anybody to use our SIM card. So that is your prerogative. The Canadian SIM card will charge you whatever the rates are on to roam in Europe, but you are more than welcome to do that. You do not have to take our SIM card. Um, if I have to, no, you don't have to use our SIM card. So I think I got that question right. So no worries. You're welcome to do that. And if you also want to have an eSIM card, not that there's any reason to have an eSIM card, but if you have your preference, again, we are not forcing you to do anything. You are welcome to get an eSIM card instead of the physical SIM card that we'll give you. We want to make everybody happy as best we can. So thank you for the great questions. I appreciate them because that just means you're paying attention. Well, not that I had any doubt about that. No. Um, Fantastic. Good. I think we've got it all. So I will wrap things up with a wish of bon voyage and have a fantastic time. And I look forward to hearing your feedback when you come back. Fran, any final words from you?
No, just get ready. You're going to be blown
Just
away. I thoroughly have fallen in love with Madeira. You know how somebody always, oh, what's your favorite place? And oh, well, they're all really wonderful. Madeira is now on the list.
it's definitely one that always comes to mind for me. So I hope you will, and I trust that you will feel the same. Have a great time, everybody, and stay warm in winter until you get to Madeira, and then life will be great. Bye for now.
See you soon, everyone.